for people who will go to Gikomba, buy a few things, come and resell in town, to now Kenyans living, Kenyans abroad who want to do business in Kenya.
But the logistics must be crazy because someone might be selling, like you said, electronics. It could be something as simple as a phone or something as huge as a fridge.
Yes.
So how do you even determine the spaces?
So currently we only serve people who deal with small weight products.
Okay.
Of course, a fridge cannot fit in a shelf. So that in itself becomes a challenge of its own. So what you're talking of electronics is simple gadgets, phones, accessories, things like that. Yeah, I think currently where we are at, eventually we hope to improve the offerings we give to people in retail space. But currently we deal people who deal with products that can fit in a shelf.
Yeah.
Few of them.
Like a cup.
Perfect.
Yeah.
These
So
are perfect for.
Say, Amelia, you
We'll
can.
chat after.
Definitely.
Yes, connecting people indeed, right? Yeah.
Yes.
The thing, okay, so it must be then a headache dealing with all these people. I don't know, how many, roughly, would you say that you have, I don't know, 50 individuals that you're working with, or 100 maybe, 1,000?
We're actually approaching 1,000. And yes, the logistical nightmares are, it's a nightmare in of itself.
Yeah, I mean, keeping track of everyone and their products and where they're kept and
yeah. And
connecting them to the customer.
That is the innovation. For us, Notify, we started as an online business. We had a business, and we found that rent was very expensive in town. And so we needed to come up with a solution. So the solution we came up with is we introduced this rent-a-shelf concept, where we took the first shop in Nairobi, and we decided, we're going to put shelves in it and allow small businesses to rent a shelf. And since then, it's been actually interesting to see the businesses we've had over time, the growth they've experienced. And the innovation is actually in making sure that the management of the space, everything is done efficiently. So we have systems, inventory management systems. We've gone on to slowly, bring on board employees who are qualified in FMCG, that sector. Over time, you realize, in as much as it's challenging, I think challenges, that's where opportunities lie.
Yes.
If you're able to solve a challenge, then you're definitely in business.
All right.
Yeah.
Amelia, because what he's saying in terms of logistics, and I'm just thinking probably it's also the same with you because you said you're in Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu.
Yeah.
Dealing with all these individuals also must be a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, so I mean, going to the market access piece of providing markets for those entrepreneurs, those logistics are really difficult. There are companies that have grown to figure out how to get products into low-income areas at affordable rates, but there's very few trying to get products out of informal areas. So how to actually support the entrepreneurs and those businesses that are coming from those areas and get their products now to different demographics of people. And so one of the things that we're working on right now that we're going to be launching next year is our first production facility, which will basically be an incubation space for all of our food and hygiene businesses. Which will allow us to streamline a lot of those logistics and better do sales, but it will also reduce costs for our businesses because they'll be able to now share the operational costs of running their spaces. They'll be able to share machinery and be able to grow in that way.
Nice. So you've said cost. Let's talk about the money now involved in all this, because it must be an expensive venture, doing all this for all these people, getting the different kinds of experts to make sure that they either mentor them or they advise them and take them through the processes of incubating their business. Are we talking about like huge sums of money involved in the process?
So we start with low sums of money, but higher than microfinance. So the initial capital we provide is called grant equity. It's non-repayable financing, and we provide up to about 200,000 Kenya shillings to entrepreneurs at that stage. The capital then converts into a 5% equity stake after 2 years if they become a company. But if they remain as like a sole proprietor, partnership type of business, a small business, then it's just a grant. So that's why we call it a grant equity. Then in later stages, where we track our businesses throughout the entire period they're with us through our own reporting tools that are based off of USSD technology and also WhatsApp. So things that people are already using and are very accessible to our entrepreneurs. It's also accessible outside of SOMO to use to track businesses. We then evaluate what the business's needs are, and we work with partners to provide debt capital along the way as well.
Okay. All right. Waweru, same question to you. The monies involved here must be mammoth, for lack of a better word, because you're looking at dealing with close to 1,000 people, like you said. There's a lot of exchange in money, but also on your end, getting all these spaces and having all these shelves made and security for these places must have been, you know, an upward, you know, uphill situation before as you started off.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was capital is it was a bit of an issue at start when we were starting, but I think that you can't really go around it. Capital is, yes, important when you're starting, but then you have to really prove that you know your concept is easy. You know, you have to validate your concept for you to warrant now you know, more money. So you always start with your own money. We started by risking our own money. We went to our parents, we went to a bit of family to set up the first shops we had. Because at that point in time, what we needed more than anything else is to prove that this model works. It's actually a business. The model, the financial model was sound. And so, yeah, initially we had to go deep into our own pockets. We take a bit of risk.
Right.
That's why entrepreneurship is a bit risky.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually, you know, you can actually take an idea and convert it into a business. Once you convert it into a business, then your options now start, you know, increasing. The options now of raising capital. At least now you're able to engage institutions, individuals. So that becomes easy as you go on.
Before we talk about, you know, transferring the risk to other individuals so that you can cushion yourselves, getting that money in the first place must have been, because you said deep into your pockets.
Yes.
I don't know how deep your pockets were back then or are now. Did you seek financing elsewhere? Instance, a bank, maybe a SACCO. Did you do a Harambe?
None of the above. We neither went to a bank because again we were too young as a company. Yeah, so initially what we did is we sat down and asked ourselves, what do we have that we can actually use to start our business? And we put a lot of. I personally took a lot of risk. You know, we started the business, my wife and myself, and so the risk was actually significant in terms of us as a household. We put everything that we had into, because we believed into the idea.
Yeah.
We started, we saw there was a challenge, and we knew, yeah, if we solve the challenge, we are definitely in business. And so, yeah, we went all out. We put everything we had into getting our first shops. And where we couldn't, we went to a family. We talked to our parents, we talked to our siblings, and they're able to come through. And I think initially when you're starting, those are the people who will support you the most. Normally they won't understand exactly what you're doing, because that's how you know, the idea is a bit vague. It's never been done before, but you know they will still trust you anyway. And the good thing is, they won't be after you. You know, they won't come after you in case you don't repay.
I'd like to know your family. My family is a bit different. I'd like to know my family will definitely come after you. Okay, we'll still get back to you on that. But I'm also thinking the same way. But you guys are in the business of giving people money so that they can start their own biashara, make some beautiful cups. Where does all this money come from? Is it grants? Is it is there like a huge fund that you guys just dip into? I don't know, Bill Gates maybe?
Not Bill Gates, but we are grant and donation funded. So we are an NGO model trying to take a lot of learnings from what investment funds would do and accelerator and incubator programs that would be for profit. But we are a nonprofit model ourselves. So that is how we're funded. We're also as well funded by a bunch of investment funds that want to do more social impact, but you can't sometimes do that and get the financial returns. Okay,
nice. So when someone comes in to bring their idea to you, what qualifies them so that you can tell them, okay, I think we like what you're doing, come on over and let's see how this is going to be done?
So it's an application process. If anyone does want to apply, it's just on our website. And we're first looking for who is this individual and what do they want to see and in their communities around them, what change do they want to create? And that's the first thing we always look for. So there has to be some type of social impact component of their business. And so from there, we're then looking at, is it a sustainable business model? Does it have a revenue generating model that doesn't need continuous infusions of capital to run on a daily basis? Even the initial capital we provide, we invest specifically into capital good needs of the business or bulk raw material purchases. So we'll invest in things like space and machinery that will last the business a long time, so that they are pushed to have to cover those operational costs like rent, paying salaries. We our entrepreneurs don't get the same leeway as a Silicon Valley type of business that can be not profitable for years and years, and people take them seriously. Our businesses have to be profitable in order to survive and continue to grow, and so that's something that we push them to do.
Nice. All right, let's take a look at some of your feedback on social media, WhatsApp to be specific. Like we asked you earlier on, how did you get funding if at all you're in business? Boniface from Gogo, amount of money is being determined by size and type of business. Well, okay, kind of true there. Good morning, it's Lungashi, poet from Mutawala. Does Notify Logistics help online business ship products from online markets, e.g. Alibaba? All right, good question. Wabero, I hope you're getting that one. Yep. Hey Movie, my name is Diana and I have an online thrift shop. It has been quite a challenge to do deliveries, especially because people are based on different parts of the country. Is it possible to rent a shelf for delivery purposes? Okay, thank you, Diana. First of all, do you help individuals get stuff from other places such as Alibaba and other online shops?
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, some of our vendors are actually people who deal with that specifically. We have companies. I think the top of my mind, I can tell you there's a company called Palmera, and what they do is basically help people to ship products from abroad to come to the country. So yes, online businesses, at the end of the day, we try to provide an all-in-one stop shop for all these small businesses. So we have people who deal with the logistics of importing. We have people who will help with clearing, all the way until the products get to the shop. Once they get to the shop, we have our own team of riders, delivery people who help now in terms of doing deliveries. So yeah, is it possible to rent a shelf for the purpose of deliveries? Absolutely. We have a lot of people who do that.
So I rent a shelf, put my products there, then I send my rider to your shelf?
Whenever you have a delivery, you just inform the logistics manager, and then they'll be able to organize the delivery for you.
Oh, so I don't need to send my Nduthi guy?
No, you don't. We have our own Nduthi guys, and they are cheaper because, again, of the amount, the economies of scale. Because if you're taking a delivery, say, to Kasarani, we'll have several packages going to Kasarani at the same time.
So it's easier
and it's cheaper. Eventually becomes cheaper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And just to clarify, if I need something from China, say a phone or a shoe or whatever, I can just talk to you and tell you, Wabero, Manzemi, there's this shoe I've seen online. And so I just give you the details and you guys do everything for me. All I do is pay.
Yes, we have vendors who specifically, that's their line of business. And whether it's a phone, it's a shoe, whether you spare part for your car, we see that a lot. It's very common. So if you want, yes, we have people who specifically deal with that. They're within the Notify community. And that's why we take the name of community, because we feel that, at the end of the day, you benefit from each other's strength. Yeah, so there are people who deal with beauty products, but they manufacture their own beauty products here. And so for that reason, they tend to hire the services of someone who will help them to import, because their core business is to manufacture.
All right.
So it becomes a community at the end of the day.
All right. So she mentioned the fact that, they help incubate businesses and help them come to life. Did you know of such opportunities when you were beginning your own business? Did you know that you could go to, a non-profit organization such as theirs and get assistance in terms of the money?
Well, to be very honest with you, yes, we knew, because previously, before even we started Notify, I was still engaged in another. I started as, immediately after campus, I started the first company.
Okay.
It is a software business. We were incubated at the University of Nairobi, the C4D lab, for I think about 2 years or so.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a very interesting space, incubation. The people you get to meet, the networks you make, absolutely fantastic. When we were starting Notify, we knew there are certain companies that, non-profit organizations. However, for me, the personal experience is when we tried to apply to some of them, we never made it through. Unlucky for us, we never got to Somo. Probably it might have helped a lot. But the ones we applied to, they didn't come through. Eventually, along the way, something. And again, because we were trying to introduce something absolutely new. The concept itself, the business model was not fully developed.
Right.
So we dropped the ball along the way.
And so how long has Somo been in existence?
We've been around for 4.5 years.
Okay. Here in Kenya. In Kenya. Okay. All right. And so far, you've helped how many companies come to life?
So we've had about 400 go through our training program, and we've made investments in 115 now.
Wow. 150. Wait, for what? 400? And then
400 have gone through our different training programs, and then 115 we've invested capital in and help with accessing markets, give them space to work out of, and business coaching along the way.
So can someone then say that you guys help someone start their business when they do not have any money at all whatsoever?
Yeah, so plenty of our entrepreneurs did not have the capital to be able to start their business that then came into our program as an avenue to be able to launch it.
Okay, because I'm sure right now you'll get dozens and dozens, if not thousands of applications coming
apply.
coming through. And of course, we'll talk about how they can reach you and so on and so forth. But for someone who's now thinking in the direction of starting their company, and actually specifically talking about Mr. Waweru here, would if he came to you as raw as they were when they were starting, him and his wife, is this an idea that you would have taken up and incubated and seen come to life as it has now?
Definitely. I mean, I think the thing that you always need to start with as an entrepreneur is, what do you believe? What is your why of what you're doing? Because that what and how of how you actually operate your business and what you're doing are going to change so many times over the period of launching a business. But that why, and so with his example of seeing that there are all these small businesses, but they don't have access to affordable space to work out of, that why is what will keep driving you. And on the days that are really hard, because there are so many days as an entrepreneur that are really hard, that's what's going to keep you going. And that's also what gets you the investments that you need, because when you talk about that why and you communicate that to an investor, you get them to believe what you believe.
A lot of businesses never get to see their second birthday or their fifth birthday because of reasons beyond their help and beyond their what is what I'm looking for, reasons that they cannot control. So for instance, COVID-19 came in. A lot of businesses had to shut down. A lot of companies had to fire people. So how does then a company such as Somo cushion individuals against such pandemic?
So we did in a few ways. One is through the access to markets that we provide. So we went from being 11% of our entrepreneurs' sales in 2019 to now we're about 40% of their sales. So we built up that part of our program a lot, figuring out how do we get products to the end consumer in as safe a way as possible. And because there weren't as many people going out and about and shopping, making sure that those delivery systems worked during COVID was really important. So that was one way as well. We brought on some of our partners to invest zero interest loans into businesses to help them keep going during that time. And
zero interest loans? They give them to the people that you're incubating?
Yep. So we have access, our entrepreneurs through us have access to some organizations like Makono that give zero interest loans. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That sounds actually quite interesting and enticing. I might just be coming to you with a couple of ideas. But COVID-19 must have been something. But a lot of people are saying that businesses such as yours actually benefited during this period than anyone else.
Well, COVID was brutal on everyone, actually. For businesses like ours, we were a bit disadvantaged, especially in the first few months of COVID, because for businesses that have a high OPEX, because rent needs, you still need to pay rent, especially for the places where your landlord is not so understanding. They will still, they also tell you, we also have our own needs. So, and that was a bit of a challenge, because some of these buildings are quite pricey.
Especially in the CBD.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the rent there is crazy?
It is. Yeah, so the first few months were crazy. But then, because you're working with, small businesses, you really have to understand their position. So they're the ones who take the hit, the biggest hit. So we gave them a lot of, we gave them a few months where they didn't pay rent, and then we slowly increased the rent until we came to 100% of what they were paying before COVID. Yeah. However, during that period of time, we still needed to keep our shops open to pay your staff. So it was a bit brutal for us the first few months. Now we are seeing an increase. People are slowly opening up to the idea that you having a side hustle, even if you're employed, having a side hustle is not a bad thing, because job security has never been challenged like in the periods of COVID, where now it was real. You could say it's your family member, it's yourself, or it's a friend of yours who actually lost a job. So people opening up to the idea of starting a small business.
Yeah.
And when they do, we are trying to tell them that we are there for them. We are here to support them and to work with them in the long term.
Okay, nice. Yeah. What I'm interested to know is, as you were going through all this situation, and you giving your tenants a reprieve, and so on and so forth, did it at any one point then come to you that, oh my God, we might have we might actually be shutting down anytime soon, because obviously money isn't coming through then as you had expected? Landlords are not understanding, as you had said. Did you think at one point, oh my God, we might need to close down?
Yes, we actually, that thought actually crept in our heads. In fact, we actually had to downsize the number of shops, especially in Nairobi, because in Nairobi we had a couple of shops. So we actually had to consolidate so that you become a bit more efficient, and consolidate your vendors into the shops where the landlords are fairly understanding. Yeah, but I think all in all, the journey of a startup, as she mentioned, the journey of a startup is, there's nothing that is certain. It's uncertainty from day one. So when COVID comes, I think if you've been at it for a while, startups throw a lot of issues that the internal joke is anytime you solve one problem, it leads you to another problem.
Okay.
That is the journey of a startup. So you are constantly working to put out a fire somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so COVID was, it was equally similar.
All right.
Yeah.
We take a short break right now, but when we return, of course, we shall be talking about financing your debts at all, if you do have any. And we'll probably talk about how, through maybe incubations, incubation companies such as Somo Africa, you can actually even find yourself in a better position. Because she has said, imagine you're getting stuff for free, money for free, situations for free. Do not go too far. Definitely coming back, and let us know what you think on our social media platforms. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. So Somo does a lot, yeah?